Turkey and football and maybe some shopping. Thanksgiving traditions for a lot of us. Retailers always looking for the big win, the shopping season, and the Fox Business Network's Christina Partsinevelos is here.
We've actually had a lot of retail earnings that came out, and we saw the stocks for some companies like Target, Kohl's, all closed down in the red yesterday.
Is this Target's last Thanksgiving?
No.
I heard it asked today.
No, I still believe they have some legs out there, especially online. But the reason why you saw the share price down for a lot of these companies is the outlook in 2019 that the consumer confidence won't be as strong. However, if we focus on the moment now and this season, Adobe Analytics came out with a report, and they looked at over 55 million SKUs, 1 trillion visits, and they found that so far, just in the month of November, Americans have spent already $32 billion just on the holiday season from November 1st to November 20th. So if you're wondering, what are the top gifts or what are
we've gone from citizens to consumers. That's what we are now. So what are the best ones?
Well,
that was cute too. You didn't even let me read the dang thing.
No, that's not the I'm just listing the top.
All right,
the top
I don't know anything. Never heard of them.
And Grumblies.
Don't know.
We're going to show pictures of that. There you go.
No.
Toys, obviously. Those are doing the top 2. Then it followed by Nintendo Switch, iPad, and Google Home. That I know. So there you go. Now you can ask me questions.
The Switch and what else?
Google Home and iPads.
Oh, Google Home.
Do you have that?
I'm not going to answer that because then they'll just hack it and go in there and turn the lights on and off.
Okay. So do we want to talk about deals too?
No, we ran out of time because I talked out of turn.
Oh, because there's so many good deals.
The program ends in 3 minutes.
Well, I got some good stuff about what.
I'm told to read.
Oh, okay, fine.
You've probably ruined everything.
I ruined it. I'm sorry.
This Thanksgiving could be one of the coldest ever in parts of the country. Chief Meteorologist Rick Reichmuth live in the Extreme Weather Center. Will the balloons fly or no?
Probably. The balloons are a little bit more about the wind. It's going to be windy, but I think not over that 30-mile-an-hour threshold, so they should be okay. Big rain across parts of California. We desperately need it to put out the fires. In fact, this rain should put out a lot of the fires that are across, especially Northern California, and end fire season completely. Southern California, you still probably won't get enough out of this, but that's going to be pretty significant. Then take a look at this. Doesn't look like much. A little bit of snow that's falling here just off of the Great Lakes. It's right behind this that the really cold air is. Really cold, like January really cold, and that's going to settle in here all across, really down towards parts of the mid-Atlantic, maybe in towards the southeastern state as well. Feels like minus 15 in Sudbury. Feels like 38 in New York, 33 in Boston. Highs today, not that bad. These are actual air temperatures tomorrow into the 20s for almost everybody. That'll likely be about the coldest air we've seen in well over 100 years on Thanksgiving Day, and in a lot of cases just breaking the records. It doesn't last that long. By Saturday, Sunday, we've got the temps coming back up. But take a look at how this goes. Right now, it doesn't look that bad. Shep, overnight tonight, cold air settles in here, and by the time those balloons are trying to fly tomorrow morning, how about that? 6 degrees is what it'll feel like across New York City. Not fun.
I'll pass.
Yep, me too.
Thank you, Rick.
You bet.
So a little while ago, we were telling you how the Chief Justice, John Roberts, sent out the note to the president saying, look, Mr. President, we don't have your judges and Obama judges and all the other judges. We have dedicated judges. Sent it out to him in an official statement. There's a tweet now. The president just responded saying, sorry, Chief Justice John Roberts, but you do indeed have Obama judges, and they have a much different point of view than the people who are charged with the safety of our country. It would be great if the Ninth Circuit was indeed an independent judiciary, but if it is why... And now we wait for another tweet. John Roberts sent it out earlier. The problem with all of this is it could, if anybody believes all of this, take down trust in the system which protects us from those who might not want the system to work just perfectly for personal reasons. John Roberts says, don't worry about us, we got this. The president's second part of the tweet should be coming soon. The Dow's closing. It was a sort of slow day down there. The volume's really low. And though the numbers were really big earlier, not so much. Hope you have a fantastic holiday, and I hope the Rebels beat the Bulldogs. And I'll see you back here on Monday.
Well, holiday getaway is on. Americans from coast to coast hitting the roads and airports for Thanksgiving as shoppers gear up for the biggest shopping day of the year. And we are everywhere. Welcome, everyone. I'm Charles Payne in for Neil Cavuto, and this is your world. Fox on top of Americans hitting the roads and about to hit the stores with Mike Tobin at Chicago's O'Hare Airport on the big travel push, Lauren Simonetti in New Jersey on the big holiday shopping push. We begin with Mike. Mike.
Well, we're expecting to see holiday travel push into record territory, up 5.4% from last Thanksgiving. We're expecting about 4.7 million people to come through the airports, and that means a record number of people being screened by TSA. The good news is that it's humming along. As I let you look live now at how things are going through O'Hare's Terminal number 3. You can see that it actually looks like a pretty light day. As busy as it got, it never really got too far out of bounds from a normal Wednesday. And that's because the TSA saw this coming. They budgeted some overtime. They've got all of the positions at the screeners filled, and the lines are moving along.
We recommend that you arrive at least 2 hours before your flight. We're going to have additional hours. We're going to have all lanes operational. We're going to have an overtime budget that has been allocated for additional hours, and we're going to make sure that we process our passengers not only safely, but also efficiently.
About 48 million people will get in the car, and that's actually a bit down. GasBuddy.com was anticipating travel to be down by about 15% because gas prices were so high, but gas prices took a big dive in October, so they're expecting some last-minute decisions from people who want to fill up the tank, but you're still going to have some freedom if you get on the road this holiday weekend. Charles?
Mike, thank you very much. Now to FBN's Lauren Simonetti, gauging the mood of investors, shoppers rather. We're talking about a different market, aren't we? She's in Westwood, New Jersey. Lauren.
We're investing in the stores today, Charles. The official kickoff to the holiday shopping season is literally just hours away. So whether you're going to the big mall or going shopping in a small town like this one, or just sitting home on your couch shopping with your fingertips, you're likely hunting for the best deals out there. Get these numbers. 34 million of us expected to shop tomorrow, the holiday, Thanksgiving. Triple that is expected on Black Friday, and the excitement is expected to continue through the weekend.
This is a Thanksgiving weekend. I'm thanking her, she's thanking me, but don't tell our mates.
I am definitely not. It's going to be too cold for that.
You guys are all doing shopping on Thursday?
Yes.
What stores?
Macy's. Lots of eating, cooking, and just fun.
So for those shopping tomorrow, Adobe Analytics says the best deals are on sporting goods. If you're shopping Black Friday, you'll likely find the hottest deals on electronics. Now, if you are shopping online, Cyber Monday, it's all about the toys. The hot toys this year, the LOL surprise dolls. I don't know if your granddaughter's into those, Charles. Also, the little live pets like this turtle here. This little guy was $20, by the way. But what's crazy about this is that if you look at the numbers this month, before the official kickoff to holiday shopping, $32 billion has already been rung up in online sales. Expect to add about $3 billion of that tomorrow on Thanksgiving, and about $6 billion to that, Charles, on the official Black Friday. All in, we are expecting online sales to top $124 billion this year. So happy shopping, and a little bit of a confession. I've been getting deals, Black Friday deals, all week. I did half of my shopping at work this week, Charles.
Good.
On the computer and on my phone.
Well, I expect my gifts earlier than normal then. Lauren, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Hey, with millions of Americans hitting the roads and stores this holiday weekend, who says the economy is doing lousy? Even though the markets, seesawing back and forth, we had a rough few sessions here. The bottom line is, it seems like folks out there really feel like everything's okay. We're going to ask Hal Lambert, CEO of Point Bridge Capital, and personal finance guru Larry Winget. Larry, we're hearing recession talk, inverted yield curves, crashing crude oil, and yet all the other things point to a very strong and confident consumer out there.
Charles, I spend most of my time traveling around the country talking to small business trade associations, and I see a lot of enthusiasm among small businesses out there. They feel good about jobs. They feel good about wages. They feel good about all the opportunities ahead of them. So I think confidence is way up, and we're going to end strong this year.
How?
Oh, it's going to be a fantastic holiday sales season. I mean, look at consumer confidence is near an all-time high. Unemployment is at record lows across all demographics: women, Hispanics, Black, Asian. You've got the consumer confidence number is the key for this employment number. And if you look at also at the paychecks that people have now, the tax cuts are in full effect. So you've got net pay up, and then you're getting raises coming through. You add on top of that the oil prices dropping, so you've got lower gas prices. These policies of President Trump have put more cash in people's pockets than ever before, and they're going to spend it this holiday season. I mean, Americans, let's face it, they have a lot to be thankful for this Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you know, I feel like almost every Thanksgiving as an American I'm grateful, but certainly when the economy is humming. Larry, interesting enough, we had the consumer sentiment report out by the Michigan University. What I found to be very compelling is the top 1/3 of income households in this country, their consumer confidence went down over 6%. The bottom 1/3 rocketed more than 10%. We have been seeing Americans who have been shut out of the economic recovery for a long time really starting to feel good about themselves.
Yeah, isn't that a great thing that people who have in the past been at the bottom are starting to feel good about their situation and their circumstances now? It's all because of what he just said, that we finally have a group of people that have more money in their pocket than they have in the past. And they're excited about that, thankful about that, and they're going to be spending some of that money for the first time in a long time. They feel good about their Christmas.
Now, of course, Larry, you're real famous for telling folks, hey, it's good to be excited, but don't overdo it. We're not just talking about the turkey tomorrow, all right? You talk about spending. You know, are we at a point where you want to sort of put out a word of caution?
Yeah, first of all, I would say on Black Friday, don't chase a bargain to the point that you lose your dignity along the way. Be nice to folks. Don't rush through all this stuff. Don't push and shove. And if you're going to charge your credit cards up buying Christmas presents, be sure you can pay that off in 60 days or less.
All right. Make sure you don't give the security guard the bum's rush. I'll give you the last word here. So this momentum, you see it going through the rest of the year into 2019?
Absolutely. Look, consumers have more money in their pockets than ever before. And as we just said, they have a lot to be thankful for. They're going to be spending it. I think value and convenience are going to drive retailers. So if you're providing value and you're providing convenience as a retailer, you're going to do very, very well this season.
All right, gentlemen, thank you both very much and happy Thanksgiving. And
happy Thanksgiving.
The only obstacle may be the weather, right? Temperatures in the 20s along the East Coast, icy, cold winds that could actually even ground the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Some of those balloons may have to be grounded. Meteorologist Rick Reitmuth is with us. He's in the Fox Weather Center, keeping track of all of this. Rick, I'm getting chilly just tossing this to you.
I know, but here's the deal. It's going to be better by Friday once you're going to go outside to shop.
Okay.
So that's good. The cold day is Thanksgiving Day, and if you're already at mom's or grandma's, then you can just stay inside and kind of wait it out because it rebounds pretty quickly. Want to tell you, out across the west, big rain coming into California as well as the Pacific Northwest, and those fires we've been dealing with, a little bit too much rain too quickly. We're worried about some flooding or at least some mudslides, especially in those recently burned areas. That said, we desperately need that moisture. But you mentioned it. So here's the current wind chill. Feels like 9 degrees in Burlington, 19 in Albany, still along the coast, along the I-95 corridor is not that bad just yet. However, by tonight, the low temperature in New York City, 19 degrees, 15 degrees in Boston, cooler once you get up here, single digits across parts of northern areas of New England. And this is Friday morning. We're going to be dealing with kind of the same thing. So a couple of really cold mornings, and the day in between that day is Thanksgiving Day. Down across the south, though, it's going to be beautiful, 60 in Kansas City and tons of sunshine. You mentioned the parade. All right, take a look at this. This is 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, 21 degrees actual air temperature. It's going to feel like somewhere between around 7 to 15, and the winds right around 10 to 25 miles an hour. It's really crucial. The rules for the balloons are if the sustained winds are more than 23 miles an hour, they're grounded. If it's gusting to more than 35 miles an hour, they're grounded. The balloons are grounded. They don't put them up. However, I think we're going to be right below that threshold in almost all that case, and so the balloons will probably go. They might not go as high, Charles, as they usually would go, but they'll bring them down, tether them down just a little bit, and I think the balloons are still going to fly. But if you're thinking about going and sitting out there, just sitting, not moving in 20 degrees for a few hours, that does not sound like fun.
Well, Rick, I'm looking out the window right now, and there's so many people gathering already. I think folks want to see the balloons no matter how cold it is.
It's true. It's an amazing thing to see the parade.
As the caravan numbers grow south of the border, the White House approving increased authority for U.S. troops north of it. They can now provide protection for the Customs and Border Patrol protection agents and engage in some law enforcement duties. With us now, National Border Patrol Council Vice President Hector Garza. Hector, this news coming this morning. 58,000 troops to support the 2,000 border guards there already. We've seen some ugly scenes throughout Mexico, some clashes with authorities, local residents. Are you happy with the idea if it comes to that, at least you'll be able to get some support from U.S. troops?
So we're actually very happy that the President Trump is supporting our Border Patrol agents, and he's putting America first. It's very interesting, Charles, because we've never seen this before, but we're very appreciative that we have the military, that our ports of entry have been fortified in this caravan. We know that there are people in this caravan that have been deported after serving time. As an example, our Border Patrol agents arrested a couple weeks ago an alien that had been convicted of murder in Austin, Texas, and days after he was deported, he was apprehended by our Laredo Border Patrol agents. So we know for a fact that these criminals, once they get deported, once they're coming from their countries, these gang members, we know that they're going to make it into the United States, or they're going to try.
Real quick,
they'll be met by Border Patrol agents.
Before we wrap it up, the overarching majority of these folks coming in, will it be catch and release, or catch and house in these temporary quarters that the military helped build? How are you going to handle them once they cross the border?
So we are working with President Trump to make sure that this is catch and detain, so we can do away with catch and release. Our union, our Border Patrol Council, had a meeting with President Trump this week, and that was the main topic of discussion. So we are looking forward to catch and detain. All
right. Listen, be careful. The world's watching, and we hope it goes peacefully. And your thoughts, everyone's thinking about you and your team. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charles.
Chief Justice John Roberts delivering a supreme slapdown to something President Donald Trump just said. Kevin Corke is in West Palm Beach, where the president is nearby in Mar-a-Lago. This was some serious stuff, huh, Kevin?
Yeah, no question, Charles. I mean, we're talking about a back and forth over judicial independence and judicial activism, quite frankly, to be honest. That's dominating the president's first day of vacation of Thanksgiving 2018. Very interesting conversation, and I think it's a conversation, frankly, Charles, that the American people are ready to have. This actually all began when the president openly criticized a judge by the name of John Tiger for preventing the administration from enacting new restrictions on asylum seekers. Now, that ruling, in effect, places a hold on the administration's plans to keep potentially thousands of migrants, as you were just pointing in your previous interview, from being granted access to our country. And what White House officials have suggested is akin to exploiting a loophole in our laws. Well, just yesterday, the president said this about that ruling.
It's very unfair when everybody files their case in the Ninth Circuit. They file it for a reason. This was an Obama judge. And I'll tell you what, it's not going to happen like this anymore.
Okay, so that brought this response from the Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court, Justice John Roberts, who wrote this. We do not have Obama judges or Trump judges, Bush judges or Clinton judges. What we have is an extraordinary group of dedicated judges doing their level best to do equal right to those appearing before them. That independent judiciary is something we should all be thankful for. But as you can imagine, Charles, if it's out there, the president hears about it, he's going to head to Twitter to make sure he can communicate with as many people as quickly and as possible. He wrote this within the hour, tweeting, "Sorry, Chief Justice John Roberts, but you do indeed have Obama judges, and they have a much different point of view than the people who are charged with the safety of our country." He added this: "It would be great if the Ninth Circuit was indeed an independent judiciary, but if it is, why are so many opposing views on border and safety cases filed there? And why are the vast number of those cases overturned? Please study the numbers. They are shocking. We need protection and security. These rulings are making our country unsafe, very dangerous, and unwise." Now, part of the frustration stems from the many challenges to Trump policies from Obama-appointed judges, notably in California, as you and I have talked about previously, also Hawaii, as in the travel ban, and even recently, Michigan, as in the Iraqi illegal immigration ruling. A very timely conversation, one we're having on vacation. Charles?
Well, I did read where the Ninth Circuit, I think 79% of these decisions have been overturned. And judicial activism has been a big topic on both sides of the aisle. So this won't go away.
Yes,
Kevin,
sir.
Have a great Thanksgiving. Thank you very much.
Thank you, buddy.
More protests and clashes in Venezuela today against that country's socialist government. Why New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio may want to pay attention. And later, shoppers getting ready to bust down those doors Friday. But what about millennials? Why stores are pulling out all the stops to get them in. New York City Democratic Mayor Bill de Blasio sparking new controversy after saying that he wants the city government to control property development and rents, all of it. And he cites his socialistic impulses. The Fox Business Network's Charlie Gasparino. And, by the way, we did invite Mayor de Blasio on the show. And we haven't heard back from him.
I wonder why.
Yeah, but it's so nuts.
It's kind of funny that, if you just oppose him from the president sometimes says crazy stuff, right? But his policies are kind of conventional normal. This guy sounds normal, but his policies are so out there. He's so radical. He's even radical for New York City, which used to have I covered New York City politics for government and sometimes politics for a long time. It used to own stuff. It reversed that trend, starting with Dinkins into Giuliani, where it basically started selling stuff that it owned. It owned hotels. It owned a lot of stuff. It's sort of unraveling that because it's hard for a government to be this big and to operate efficiency. This guy wants to turn back the clock. And it's interesting that he wants to turn back the clock as he cuts a crony capitalism deal with Amazon. Gives them all these tax breaks to re-gentrify a neighborhood that's already gentrified. It really is a shame that this guy is still mayor. And people, I'll tell you, the New York Times did everybody a disservice. When he was running for mayor, he was running against a moderate, smart, business-friendly Democrat named Bill Thompson. He's now the head of CUNY. I know Bill very well. Before the election that put de Blasio in there, they should have ran the story that they eventually ran when the Republican was in there. It was that Bill de Blasio honeymooned in Cuba, gave aid and comfort to the Sandinistas, and really has the heart of a commie. And they didn't do that because that would have hurt him in that primary, which was very close, that the Democratic primary.
It makes me wonder, though, if that would have been enough because...
It would have been at the time because it was very close. So it just needed to change.
Well, Bill was a good candidate to your point, too. But, I think about also in the last week, a federal judge rejected a settlement. The New York Housing Commission, which runs the public housing projects, ran for a decade. They hid problems from...
lead paint.
Rats, lead paint. And last winter, 80% of these 400,000 people went large swaths of the winter without heat.
It's really disgusting.
He rejected it. The judge said he spoke to these residents and that the squalor that they lived in. And Mayor de Blasio wants to expand that to the entire city. It's just shocking.
It's shocking that he can't manage what he already has.
Right.
I mean, if you know anybody that lived in housing, like my cousin and my mother lived in housing projects in the Bronx, they were much better than they are now. It's really a cesspool right now. It's a cesspool because the city government can't manage them right.
Yeah.
And the guy at the top is giving tax breaks to Amazon while kids are getting sick off of lead poisoning from peeling.
Or grandmothers are walking 20 flights because the elevator is broken.
Rats
or kids are freezing because the heat doesn't work.
I mean, it's really...
400,000. Charlie, I bet you 90% of them voted for de Blasio back in office. We got to leave it there.
They probably did because he's got the Democratic Party locked up, and that's locked up this entire city.
Sad. Hey, have a great Thanksgiving.
You too.
Well, it looks like a very happy Thanksgiving for Nancy Pelosi as one potential challenger to her speakership backs down. Are the other Democrats opposing her giving up too? And lettuce, turkey, cake mix, you name it, health scares are forcing Americans this Thanksgiving to avoid it all. Inside and outside the Beltway. New reports say left-wing lawmakers and groups are warning moderate Democrats of, quote, serious backlash if they vote against Pelosi for House Speaker. Garrett Tenney has more on from the nation's capital. Garrett.
Well, Charles, it's important to remember here that it was these moderate Democrat candidates in Republican districts who helped the party retake the House in the midterms. Now, not voting for Nancy Pelosi was an important campaign promise for a lot of these candidates, but progressive groups such as Move On are warning them and other moderates against voting for anyone other than Nancy Pelosi. If they don't get on board, the group is reportedly prepared to support candidates to run against them in primaries. It is notable, though, that progressive groups did not come out in support of Pelosi until after she agreed to give progressive House leaders more seats on powerful committees. That's when Move On tweeted, quote, "We strongly support and call on all members of the Democratic caucus to support Nancy Pelosi for Speaker. Were it not for her skilled and effective leadership, the ACA would not be law today. Dems must reject attempts to defeat her and move the caucus to the right." Now, Nancy Pelosi is known as a master deal maker, and we are seeing a lot of that this week already. Today, one of the 16 Democrats who signed a letter vowing to vote against her announced he's changed his mind. In a statement, New York Congressman Brian Higgins said, quote, "Following conversations with Nancy and other caucus leaders, I have renewed confidence that more voices will be heard, that members will each have greater opportunities to advance policies meaningful to the communities and country we love." Now, that is quite a change from earlier this year when Higgins called Pelosi, quote, "aloof, frantic, and misguided." Now, this is also possibly an indication that with still no viable challenger, a lot of Democrats are starting to view Pelosi's appointment as inevitable and are starting to file in and get on board.
So
Charles?
Now I know what they mean when they say use of political capital. I get it. I understand. Yeah. All right, Gary, thanks a lot.
You got it.
So with Democrats now moving to the left in Congress that's so divided, the question everyone wants to know is, can anything get done in D.C.? Well, who better to ask than former House Majority Leader Tom DeLay. Tom, thanks for joining the show.
It's great to be with you, Charles. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much. You know, I got to tell you, we're hearing a lot of saber rattling from incoming Democrats on the House side, not necessarily Nancy Pelosi, but it feels like, we're going to be in for some pretty rough days come 2019.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it's going to be interesting to watch if Trump triangulates the Republicans in the Senate. Things could get really bad. But I'm hoping he's going to stand his ground. He's going to act like an outsider. He's going to take on the House because the House is going to come after him. They're going to come after him with everything they had. We did that when we took over the first time in 1994. We shut down the government because Bill Clinton would sign the bills that cut 100 agencies and offices and bureaus, and he wanted more spending. We wouldn't give it to him. So
it didn't work out too well for you, did it?
No, actually, it did.
It did? Okay.
For the next 6 years, because Bill Clinton knew that we were crazy and we would take him over the cliff, he didn't get to sign one major bill that he initiated. The entire agenda was set up by the House: welfare reform, balancing the budget, and so forth and so on.
But he did, though.
No, he was great.
He did react, though, to the message of the people. It felt like, Bill Clinton, even Ronald Reagan, after a midterm loss, seemed to sort of shift gears a little bit, do some things he was uncomfortable with, but at the same time, listening to the American public. And you got to wonder, legislate or investigate. The Dems seem to have one of these choices, and I'm not so sure they're not going to spend so much time digging up dirt on Deutsche Bank.
Oh, listen, the investigations are going to be rampant. I mean, they're already talking about investigating Ivanka Trump over her emails when she first came into the transition team. I mean, that's just ridiculous type stuff. But they're going to do it. I know Nancy Pelosi. I've known her for 40 years. She's very quiet and won't let you in on what she's doing. But behind the scenes, all kinds of things are going to be going on.
Right.
And Trump better be ready for it. He can't take it for granted. He's got to be ready.
Well, by the way, there are some Senate Republicans who also want to investigate Ivanka. But be that as it may, how do you suggest then that President Trump navigate through all of this? Because what we saw through the Brett Kavanaugh hearings is that when the Democrats went low and the GOP kind of stayed away, it worked out pretty good for them. It changed the whole dynamics, I think, of the electorate. And Should it be warfare on both sides? Does your President Trump just really strive for these bipartisan deals wherever he can get them, and when he can't, just take the high road?
Well, remember, the Democrats' definition of bipartisanship is to buy into their partisanship. So compromising with them or cutting deals with them, you're going to lose because you've already seen they're very tough. Nancy Pelosi's very firm. She's not going to, I mean, she's going to take on Trump mano a mano. And so Trump has got a choice to make. He can stand firm, stand on principle, and stand on policy and what he wants to get done, even if it means shutting down the government every now and then. Or he can give in to Nancy Pelosi and spend more money.
Right.
If he spends more money, we're in for big trouble.
Representative DeLay, it's always great talking. Thank you very much, and have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Charles. Happy Thanksgiving.
Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg says that he ain't going nowhere, but his money is. More on that blowout that's costing him billions of dollars. Plus, the warnings you'll want to hear before your family sits down for Thanksgiving dinner. We've got all of that right after this. Tech's biggest players losing big. Amazon, Facebook, their shares tried to come back today, but it's been a tumultuous month for both of them. Fox Business Network's Deirdre Bolton here to break it all down.
It has been a tough month, Charles. Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google collectively losing more than $1 trillion in market value since their record highs earlier this year. For some of the founders, the losses are more than symbolic. So take a look at Amazon's founder, CEO Jeff Bezos. He is among the richest people in the world, but his net worth has taken a big hit. He owns close to 79 million shares of Amazon at $1,500 and change per share. So the drop in the stock price since its July highs means that Bezos has lost $40 billion. Now, Mark Zuckerberg, as we know, under a lot of criticism at Facebook, from having a slow response to Russian manipulation during the presidential race to other issues. And in fact, one journalist asked him if he's the right person for the top job. Here's his answer.
So you are not stepping down as chairman?
That's not the plan.
That's not the plan. Would anything change that?
I mean, like eventually over time. I mean, I'm not gonna be doing this forever, but I certainly I'm not currently thinking that makes sense.
In that interview, Zuckerberg reiterated Facebook's potential as a force for good. He also pushed back against some of the criticism. Now, he owns more than 377 million shares, Class A and B, which does give him a lot of power. In fact, he would be pretty tough to kick out, which is why we have to assume he structured the terms in that way and why people talk about him stepping down versus being replaced. But with that ownership, there is some downside. So when the stock stumbles, as it has, Facebook down around 35% since its July highs. And for that means a $30 billion loss in value. So Apple, Netflix, Google, also from where we stand, tons of arguments, as you very well know, Charles, as to why investors should buy on the weakness, and some as to holding steady. Plenty of opinions out there, but that's what the losses have meant to two founders. Back to you.
All right, thank you very much.
Sure.
Well, folks, sick of those robocalls? The government unveiling a new crackdown. The question, though, is will it work? And why you might want to watch out for some of the foods in your Thanksgiving feast tomorrow. Shoppers and retailers getting ready to bust down those doors, but are the doorbusters worth the crowds? Internet radio host Mike Gunzelman, Fox Business Network's Christina Parts-Nevelis, and Wall Street Journal's Jillian Melcher here. All right, Mike, what do you think? Going to be enough discounts to really get people off their sofa?
I feel like this always happens, that we all say we're not going to go and we're going to complain about the lines and everything, but I think more people than we really think actually end up going. You know what I mean? Because I think in the back of our minds, we crave chaos. That, you know, that we crave chaos. It's like, we're missing out if we're not part of it.
It's like when people rubberneck an accident or something, right? There's something about it beyond the savings just to get in there and just, you know, block and tackle. I don't know, Christine.
Or is it more like we need the deals? I need the deal. I like that high that I get when I get a deal and you don't. Maybe that's all what it's about. But two, I understand that you just got this amazing TV 45% off, and I'm stuck with this older.
Yeah, completely. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people will be going online every year. Obviously, online sales go up, but there's just something about physically being there and just seeing the mess that it is.
Yeah, it's like competitive people watching. Last time I went on Black Friday, people were like yanking stuff off the hangers, and there were piles of floor, and people were like fighting over that too. It's just bedlam.
We're all lunatics.
There are times when they knock the guards over, and it's just like it's the ultimate free for all. But people said this would stop with the internet. It hasn't.
No, but speaking of the internet, I actually have some tips for that. If you want to, that it's cheaper if you go on Amazon right now and look at the sneak peeks. They have a section of what's on sale, or if you buy through Echo, or if you put stuff in your cart and don't buy it, and then they usually send you an email with the discount. So these are some of the things I've learned with how to shop online.
How about that?
And then Tuesdays seems to be the better day to buy travel.
Okay.
But
you got it all down.
Yeah, I've got to figure it out.
I love a deal.
So I'll see you at the mall on Friday or no?
Let's see if you can figure this one out, Christina. The FCC rolling out a new plan. They say it's going to combat those unwanted robocalls and spam texts. Is it about time, though, right? I mean, we knew, Jillian, something had to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
not confident it's going to work. These guys always seem to be one step ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy that there's this illicit market and that they're ahead of the learning curve on it. There's creative destruction there, too, and that they're moving ahead. But I'm actually really glad to see something happen about this. I think the statistic I saw is now like half of all calls are spam calls, and they're just getting more outrageous and more creative. Like the lady who pretends that she's talking to you and then you realize halfway through that it's a recording drives me absolutely crazy.
Christina, are you sure that whole shopping cart thing wasn't a spam text? I mean, are you sure?
No, it's worked for me. No. I'm telling you, it's worked for me.
Right now, she's built up the cart.
Yeah, and I get it.
It's Apple spelled with one P.
But you know how to go against the robocalls? Don't give your phone numbers to companies. When you fill out a form, just give your email, so then you get the spam.
Or give your friend's phone number. That's what I do.
Oh, that's me.
I write down my friend's cell.
I used to give my brother's out.
Oh, you guys are hardcore. But that's one of my tips, is to avoid it, and then you put yourself on that do not call list. So I think that if they go through
do not call list,
which I know is outdated and doesn't do anything.
I feel like everything that they do isn't going to work.
You can get an app.
Listen, the bottom line, though, is that we give our information out for free all the time to all of these different entities. They have to make money some way, and that's one of the big ways they make money, isn't it? I mean, some of these, you can't be in business, offering free services and free stuff without anything in return.
But it's so obnoxious. I mean, I'm glad that they're finally doing something about it, because, I mean, some of these calls, like you see the really scammy ones where they're pretending to be the IRS, or they're pretending to sell you a vacation. Or I've even had ones where they pretend to be the police calling, talking about an outstanding arrest warrant.
There's
just some really shady
stuff. Looked like you bit the vacation one. That might have got you.
That's tempting.
Did you show up and the hotel wasn't there? Like, what the hell?
The solution is just don't answer a number that you don't know, right? I mean, I don't answer numbers I don't know, and I also purposely leave my voicemail full.
And they call back, and then they call back with a number that's similar to your own, and you think, oh, it's in my neighborhood. Maybe I should answer.
We got to leave it there, but I am so weird. The only answers, the calls I answer are the ones I don't know. Those are the only ones I do answer. I don't know if it's an emergency.
Don't tell your wife that.
Ahead of Thanksgiving, food recalls across the country, and people are flipping out. Well, we got some tips for you. We want to keep you and your family safe because we care. Next.